Hey everybody, thanks for taking a minute to grow. My name is Dustin Cohn, and I'm this year's horticulture intern for the SoLo counties, and today we're going to be talking about container gardening with herbs. I'm very excited to be making this video today because I love container gardening. Container gardening is so easy to do no matter what size of space you have, and it's so versatile. You can grow all kinds of different things in containers. So when picking out your containers, you want to pick out a container that has drainage. That is key to having success with your container garden. So my container I picked today is this old sink. It being an old sink, it means it already has a drain hole in it. What I also love about this container is it is counter height. So it's really easy to garden in because there's no bending over or getting down to work in the garden. So it's just really great for gardening. And the next thing to think about when you're in container gardening is the type of soil you're going to want to use. You're going to want to use a good potting soil for your garden. Not some soil you would be digging out of your backyard, because when you take that soil and put that in containers from your backyard, that will compact down and make it really hard to garden in, and your plants won't thrive, and it makes it really hard for the water to move through the soil. So that's why when you're doing container gardening, you're going to want to use a soil that is designed specifically for containers. So now I'm going to be planting the herbs, and at the end of it, I'll talk about why the herbs I picked and how you go about taking care of your herb gardens. If you just watch the time lapse, you can see we have our completed herb garden. So now I'm going to walk you through the steps of how I went about doing it. So you probably saw me add a slow release fertilizer. So I added the slow release fertilizer, and kind of the thing you want to remember about herbs is you don't want to fertilize them a lot, because if you fertilize them a lot, they go into making a lot of leaves with very little flavor, and when we grow herbs, you're growing herbs for flavor. So that will probably be the only time I'll add that fertilizer, was just that initial time, and the herb should be good for the rest of the season. And so then kind of how I went next about designing it was I did all my shorter herbs in the front and all my taller herbs in the back, because this will be backed up against a wall. So I kind of did like you saw the last video of designing a container. I did it in a stair-step way. So I did all my tall stuff back here, which is parsley, chives, and basil, and then I have my thyme, oregano, and my pineapple mint in front. So that will all spill down, and this will be tall. And another thing you want to think about when designing any type of container garden is companion plants. So companion plants are plants that get along. So all these plants will get along. Because initially when I was designing this container, I wanted to add fennel. But I was looking at what fennel gets along with. Fennel likes to be grown by its own self in its own container. So you don't want to put a plant that wouldn't get along with all these plants. But all these plants get along. And kind of another thing you want to do when doing a container gardening is make sure you have labels. I stuck all the original labels from the plants in the back of the container if I remember what I have, but also you can add these fun little name labels that I just made on Word and printed off and stuck them on little skewers. So that's a great way to remember what you have planted. And so then lastly, when just thinking about all that, you want to make sure that after you get done planting all your herbs or any container, you want to make sure you water it in really good to settle any air pockets in, to make sure that there's no air on the roots, because air on the roots will damage the plants. But you also want to make sure that all that water is getting to all the herbs. So thank you for taking a minute to grow and learning about container gardening and herbs. I know I already ended the video, but I wanted to remind you guys of some important events coming up that involve herbs. So on June 9th at the Lyon County Fairgrounds at 6 p.m., there will be a Cooking with Fresh Herbs demonstration and class. So if you guys want to register for that one, call the Lyon County Extension Office, or you can register online. And also on that same night, June 9th, at the Drink Me Brewing Company in Sibley, Iowa, we will be doing a herbs presentation at 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. So if you want to get registered for that one, you can call any of the extension offices or the O'Brien Extension Office to get registered for that one. So finally, I'll say it again, thank you for taking a minute to grow and learning about container gardening with herbs.